Foreign buyers, they've long gotten a bad rap for driving up home prices in Canada's hottest markets, namely here and in Vancouver. Yet a new report 5 years in the making suggests that they may not be the bad guys behind the boom after all.
And I love having a great big kitchen for cooking.
Another day, another Toronto home sold to the highest bidder. This 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom beauty in the heart of Toronto's Davenport neighborhood, listed for a cool $1.25 million.
Everybody always wants a great place to hang out, watch the TV.
The potential buyer, a local. Just like over 95% of all home buyers in Canada's 2 largest markets, according to a new report released today by Stats Canada.
I don't think it's a good idea to paint the foreign buyers as the boogeyman and they're the cause of all of our problems. A good house and a good neighborhood is still a good house and a good neighborhood that's going to get a bidding war going.
The new data showed non-residents own 3.4% of all residential properties in and around the GTA. The hotspots are Toronto at 4.9%, Richmond Hill at 3.6%, and Markham at 3.3%. On the other side of the country, in Vancouver, 4.8%. However, non-residents, defined as both foreigners and Canadians whose principal residence are outside of Canada, snapped up a larger share of the condo market. 7.9% of condos in Vancouver and 7.2% of condos in Toronto.
Condominium apartments in both cities, that's where you see the highest rates or the highest prevalence of non-resident ownership.
This after both provinces targeted foreign buyers with a tax to try and cool the red-hot markets. Vancouver did so in 2016, Toronto a year later. The findings are the first time the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corp and Stats Can have qualified the level of foreign ownership. For the Toronto Real Estate Board, however, they come as no surprise.
From our standpoint, foreign buyers weren't the root cause of the strong price increases we'd seen, say in 2015 and in 2016. Rather, it was a real decline and constrained supply of inventory.
The report did find foreign buyers on average paid more for condos than those owned by residents. 30% on average more in Vancouver, closer to 9% in Toronto. Makes sense, says those doing the selling.
Although people talk about Toronto being an expensive market, it's not that expensive when you compare it to a Vancouver, a New York, a Boston.
And come January, Canada's housing market is in for yet another curveball. That's when the Bank of Canada's tighter mortgage regulations come to effect, potentially making for one last selling spree this holiday season.